Hi everyone, we're doing my 6th Gripe, Manpower, Part 2. This is a real example I encountered in a previous job. I'm excited to try some animation software here. We'll see how this works out. Stop me if you've heard this one before. A microbiologist walks into a lab with some test samples. She checks the labels in her SOP to know the right test methods. She documents what she's testing on her paperwork. Then she safely completes her test for the day. 3 to 5 days later, she reads the results and turns in her paperwork for review. But the supervisor notices something wrong. The microbiologist documented a product test, but the lot number was for media. This means the sample was tested per the wrong method. The supervisor and lab manager conclude this is an obvious human error. The microbiologist had a media sample. There were clear directions in the SOP for testing a media sample, but she tested it per a product method. She begrudgingly admitted she made an error, so they pulled me in to write this up in the deviation report. Look at me there, so smug. In the grand scheme of things, there was little impact with this event, so I was to close this investigation quickly to keep the deviation closure metrics looking good. It should be easy, right? The root cause was already known, manpower, human error, and the tester admitted to it. If you saw my last video, you know I don't buy into manpower root causes too easily, so I talked to the analyst to understand how she tests. Wasn't there something suspicious earlier? The sample label said to test per the product method, and there are no other spots on the label with the product name. The testers always look to that test method line for sample identity. This wasn't obvious to confirm. Sample containers are routinely destroyed with their labels during testing. It took a lot of digging in the label generation system to find out what the label looked like when she received it. So I pushed back against the manpower root cause. The analyst tested the way the GMP label told her to test. Management pushed back with a bunch of reasons this was the tester's fault. The labeling system was validated. It would look bad to call that into question. At earlier meetings, the analysts were told media samples would be seen in upcoming weeks. There were also ways to know the difference between samples. The letter in the lot number indicated it was a media sample, and media is amber colored, but the product is white. I need to take a break from the animations to show the context of those arguments. The labeling system being validated, a validated system can still have problems, even if other employees used it successfully. See the Part 1 video for my thoughts on how good employees enable bad systems. The analyst being warned that media samples were coming, that's great, but that doesn't matter if the sample is labeled as something else they routinely see. An M for media and the sample's color, this is tribal knowledge. You can't rely on that in a GMP environment. There are a lot more nuances to this, so feel free to ask me about them. I worked with the labeling system administrator while the root cause assignment sorted itself out. Since the media was for production study, test samples were labeled to mimic the product, including the labels method. All future media tests were also set up this way. All we had to do was make a simple change in the system to label future media samples with the media method. I understand blaming manpower is tempting here, but had we done that, like this video, the only benefit would have been a short-sighted check mark on the investigation closure metric. By looking at the system from the microbiologist's point of view, we made simple, meaningful change to prevent this issue in the future. Sure, an error was made, the tester admitted they made the mistake, and there were other ways the tester could have prevented this event. That doesn't mean human error was the root cause. Those factors pale in comparison to the fact that the GMP label told her it was the wrong sample. We just need to dig for this real root cause. Thanks again everyone for watching, and I hope you liked it.